WeatherScope.
Well, the snow is tapering off for many of us in the Northeast, but it promises to be a messy morning commute in some areas as that temperature slowly dips below freezing. Hello, I'm Dave Schwartz.
And I'm Jeff Morrow. Also, you're going to have to brace yourself against those strong Santa Ana winds there in Southern California as we head on through the next 24 to 48 hours. But we'll begin this WeatherScope with the snow in the Northeast. Hey, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Oh, yes. To quote a favorite song of the season, some snow on the ground, not a lot on the highways. Check out the little girl trying to catch the snowflakes on her tongue there.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, doing a pretty good job of it before she crossed the street. And there's some holly, some Christmas holly.
Jolly Christmas.
A holly jolly Christmas is exactly right. Now, who sang that song, Dave?
Burl Ives.
Burl Ives is correct. We're going to have to give that guy a gold star or something. All right. Let's go ahead and show you what our storm is doing now. And there were many scenes like that. That was in New Jersey, by the way, just west of the Newark vicinity. If you headed a little bit farther north out of New York City, and you didn't have to go very far north, you started to get into heavier and heavier snow. Yonkers picked up about an inch. Westchester County up there, White Plains, about 2.5. Then as you headed on up into Connecticut, Bridgeport, Danbury, Hartford, where it's still snowing a little bit, anywhere between 3 and 5, maybe even 6 inches of snow fell. And on over even into western areas of Rhode Island, although down toward the Cape it is rain. This is all rain from Long Island off to the south. Here are some of those snowfall tallies, and this is by no means a definitive list. There were many reports that came in. Orchard Park picking up 8 inches, Coudersport in north central, northwest PA, 7 inches, and there in northern Jersey about 7 inches worth. There's Bridgeport at 5. And Yonkers got an inch of snow. Now we have 2 areas of low pressure. This one had been the dominant low from last night into early today and dumped a fair amount of snow in some of the Chicago suburbs around Detroit. I think over toward the Lansing area, about 9 inches worth. Some areas here in western New York picked up upwards of 10 or 11 inches as some thunderstorm action got in here, thunder snows. But that low has weakened. Now we're transferring a lot of the energy to this coastal low, which is pulling a lot of the precipitation, the heavier precipitation, out to sea. Still some rain along the Jersey Shore and out on Long Island, out toward Montauk Point, and actually rain from New Bedford all the way out to the Cape and the outer islands. But it's snow a little bit farther inland from west of Providence up through Springfield. In this darker green band, there might be still a little bit of heavier snow, and as some of this energy in Pennsylvania pulls through this area, we might get another burst or two. That's why we generally have the heaviest snow here just south of Albany, near Poughkeepsie, over to the northwest hills of Jersey. Other than that, things are really starting to quiet down here. The question is, do we have another storm in the works as we head toward Friday? We'll talk more about that in our forecast. Right now, let's talk about, well, let's go to the southeast here. Almost threw it back to Dave, but I'm going to talk about the southeast, where it was a dry and pleasant day here today. South of this front, though, we had some moisture, and we still have a pretty big thunderstorm just north of Ocala, between there and Gainesville, and more showers and storms south of Orlando in an arc all the way down to Tampa Bay, so it looks like kind of a wet night, and maybe a little bit of a noisy night. Could be some thunder and lightning in there as well. Now let's check out the western part of the nation with Dave.
Thank you, Jeff. That thunderstorm north of Ocala does look like a very powerful one. Well, you've had some rather calm weather across much of the rest of the country, while parts of the Northeast had a visit from Santa Claus. In Southern California, Santa Ana winds have been kicking up and blowing some dust around. No weather out here, no inclement weather, other than the clear skies, strong high pressure that's now sitting right down over the Intermountain region and the Great Basin, and some strong southwesterly winds. In the hills just above Malibu, California, the wind was gusting to 63 miles per hour this afternoon. They are now winding down, but toward morning it's going to get very windy. Watch it through the canyons and below the passes in Southern California. Where you might think it's warm, well, quite often in Southern California it is warm. These are cold Santa Ana winds. For heat, we go south of those showers in South Florida. Look at the highs today. West Palm Beach, that was the hottest temperature in the United States, Hawaii included. Meanwhile, we're back into winter here along the Front Range of the Rockies, and in the Rockies this is all snow. Denver has had a couple of puffy inches of snow today. It's winter in Denver. We were in the low 20s. That was it today. The wind is blowing. Watch it on Interstate 25. And this energy is going to head southward. You could see snow flurries in Oklahoma City Harrison, Arkansas, and Dallas tomorrow. We'll have the rest of that forecast for Thursday after this.
It's time now for tonight's El Nino Focus. It is ocean and atmosphere working together that makes El Nino a force for climatic change. Jim Cantore explains in this report.
In normal non-El Nino years, the surface of the Pacific Ocean along the coast of South America is cool, about 8 degrees cooler than the surface in the western Pacific. That's because of the trade winds. The prevailing trade winds in this part of the world are from east to west, and those winds push the ocean's surface along with them. That piles warm water up in the western Pacific. Sea level is about 1.5 feet higher near Indonesia than at Ecuador. And because the surface water is moved west, the cold water from deeper levels rises toward the surface off South America, sometimes to within 50 meters. That's called upwelling, and it's responsible for the cold surface temperatures. But in an El Nino, the trade winds diminish, and in some cases actually reverse. Without the trade winds, upwelling diminishes. The cold water from the depths remain far below the surface, and the surface warms. So it is this relationship between the wind and the ocean that causes the changes we know as El Nino. I'm Jim Cantore, the Weather Channel.
Join us every night for El Nino Focus right here on the Weather Channel. Now here's the forecast for tomorrow with Dave.
Well, Jeff, here we go. Our heavy snow over in southeast New York and southern New England. Still, there'll be some light snow around. Our jet stream is taking a dive southward through the Rockies and then right out and across this general area. And you'll notice that's where we have a lot of snow, but this is light snow. Very little snow will accumulate during the day on Thursday, except right here in the mountains of New Mexico, and even there it will be ending. Will there be snow in New York City? I don't think so. Even if there is a flurry, that's it. We escaped free. There were some wet flakes thrown in there in the Bronx earlier today, but it's been virtually all rain. Trouble traveling across north central Pennsylvania, southern New York State, and southern New England. Watch it south of the New York Thruway and north of Interstate 80. But tomorrow should be pretty quiet. Don't forget about the rain here in not sunny, but certainly warm Florida to the south of that frontal boundary. Look at the high temperatures on Thursday. And once again, the wind is going to be a problem on Interstate 25 along the front range of the southern Rockies and in Southern California. Boy, if you've got some traveling to do, between the high winds and the blowing dust, we could have some major problems on Thursday morning.
Oh yeah, better get a good grip on that steering wheel if you're driving one of those big rigs, big 18-wheelers.
And wind isn't going to be the only problem for travelers either.
No.